Hello, my name is Meghan Hays, and I'm the Local History Librarian at the Shaker Heights Public Library. Today, I want to talk with you about researching the history of your Shaker Heights home. So, there are lots of tools out there that will help us understand the history of homes in Shaker Heights. I'm going to talk about several of these tools today. These include the building card, uh, blueprints, the architect, previous owners, deeds, and other things. So I recommend that if you're doing this research on your own, you start with the webpage that I've developed called Research Your Shaker Home. It is on the shakerlibrary.org's website, and you can navigate to it with the URL at the bottom of the screen, or you can go to shakerlibrary.org and hover over Community Services, where you'll see Local History. Click on Local History, and then click on Shaker Heights Homes on the left side, and that will take you to that page. And on this page are all the links that I am talking about today, but also a lot of other tips and ideas about finding more information. So where to start? Well, I recommend that you start always with the building card. Now, Shaker residents are very lucky because for decades, the city of Shaker Heights maintained a set of building cards for every home in the city. When the home was constructed, the card was created, and the city would enter lots of details about the house on the card, including as you can see on the left side, the address, the date of, actually it's the date that the permit was filed to build the house, the names of the original owner, the builder, the architect, sometimes a completion date, an estimated cost, and other details about the house, such as dimensions and materials. And then I show also on the right side of this screen the building card database record. So about 10 years ago, I was involved with many wonderful volunteers in a project to digitize all roughly 10,000 building cards that had been kept by the city of Shaker Heights. So we scanned all the cards and we entered some of the information that was on the front of the card into a database. So now the database is searchable. And as you can see, it has a lot of the same information that's on the card. There's a couple of additional pieces of information that are very helpful, which I'll talk about in the next slide. So in addition to everything that's listed on the card, we have also used the Shaker Buildings building card database to show whether there is a set of blueprints for the home available. So the city of Shaker Heights routinely accepted building plans or blueprints when the permit was filed to build the house. But after a few years after the construction of the home, the city routinely destroyed those plans. They would have been overwhelmed by paper if they had not done that. But in 1945, somebody at the city made the great decision to start microfilming those plans before they destroyed them. So now we have a set of about 120 rolls of microfilm that have been brought over to us in the local history collection. And on those rolls of microfilm are all of the original blueprints for homes built in 1945 and newer. And also, because we have since indexed all 120 rolls, again with the help of some wonderful volunteers, we went through all of the rolls of microfilm and we discovered that the blueprints that were on the microfilm also included lots of renovations and additions for homes, even older homes, even pre-45 homes. So on this card, as you can see, is this example that I'm using. The house was built in 1926, so we know we don't have the original blueprints because it's pre-1945. However, when we indexed the microfilm, we found that there was a set of plans related to this house, and we marked it there, we entered it there. So if you go to shakerbuildings.com and you look for your house address, and if you see listed a microfilm roll and a plan file number, the plan file number is simply the code that we use to find the building plans in the microfilm, then you will know that we have found something that is unique, is relative to your home. So then you would want to get in touch with me and I can make those plans accessible to you. Now, This is an example of one of the images that comes from that set of plans, and this was for a 1983 addition to the house. So again, an older home, but a very nice set of plans that relate to it from the 80s. And this was not noted on the card, so it was only revealed to us when we indexed all the microfilm. So another piece of information that people are always interested in is to learn more about their architect. So as you remember, the architect is usually listed on the building card, and that is very nice because it's very difficult to figure out who your architect was in the absence of any plans and in the absence of any other information. But this tool, these set of materials really are useful for that reason as well. So for most homes in Shaker, a lot of homes in Shaker, the architect is somebody who perhaps designed a few homes. They may have designed and built their own house. They may be a sort of a builder who had archivist skills as well. And we will not know anything else about that architect. They would be pretty small offices, small businesses. You can, if you have an architect like that we don't know anything else about, you can use the Shaker Buildings webs or database to learn at least about the other homes that that architect designed in Shaker Heights. So you can just enter their name, the architect's name, into the database and see what addresses come up, and then you can go around and look at those homes in Shaker Heights. And that's often a very interesting exercise. Sometimes though, the architects are pretty well known, they're pretty famous, they're pretty busy, and there's more information to be had about those architects. So there are a few tools that I regularly use to give people more information about their architect. This includes a set of architectural walking tours that was developed by the City of Shaker Heights Landmark Commission over the many years, past several years. These are paper self-guided tours that they created, and they feature, each of them features a particular architect, and they'll have a map and the addresses, and then a little bit of biographical information. We have digitized all of those walking tours, and I have them linked on that Research Your Shaker Home webpage. And also the City of Shaker Heights has linked them to their website. I've got a picture here of George Burroughs. He's in the sort of bluish photo that's from one of the walking tours. And he was the most prolific architect in Shaker. We estimate that he was responsible for maybe 1/10 of all the homes and buildings that were designed and built in Shaker Heights, about 1,000 properties. So very busy between his solo practice and all of the different partnerships that he was involved in. Another tool that's often useful is the Cleveland Architects Database that was developed by the Cleveland Landmarks Commission many years ago. That's a database that is about the whole area of Greater Cleveland. So you're not going to just learn about what the architect was doing in Shaker Heights, but also throughout the city of Cleveland and beyond. Right now, I went looking for this database recently, and it didn't seem to be where it had always been on the City of Cleveland's website. It turns out the City of Cleveland has been revamping their website, so they took the database down. I, in the meantime, found a PDF of the information that was contained in the database, and I've linked that to my webpage on Research Your Shaker Home. I've also been in touch with the webmaster at the City of Cleveland, and they've assured me that they are planning to put that database back on the website, and I will be sure to update my webpage when that happens. Finally, we occasionally have been very lucky to learn more about architects through the archives at the AIA. Now, most architects were, as I said, small businesses, and they were not members of the AIA because that's a membership organization. It costs money, but some of the more famous, notable, busy, prominent architects did join the AIA, and if they were members, they'll be listed in that historical directory. And the archivist who works at the AIA in Washington, D.C. has been very helpful to me over the years. She has records in her files, and she's always willing to scan and upload those materials. They include correspondence and other records, generally not blueprints, but other bits of information that might help us understand the biography of a particular architect. Now, usually though, what people will want to know about their architect, especially if we don't have the homeowner's building plans, is can I find this architect in some collection? Did they deposit their materials in an archive someplace? Can I find my building plan somewhere? And the answer is generally no. Again, these were small offices. They didn't really seem to consider their materials to be historic. So it's very, very rare to find collections of plans for these architects that were active in Shaker in local special collections and archives. I have a couple of sets of paper plans, and I know the Cleveland Public Library does, and that's an exception. But it doesn't ever hurt to ask, and I welcome your questions about that. And if I know something, I'm happy to share that. But I know that that's a lot of the reason why people want to know more about the architect, is they want to know where did they leave their papers when their office closed down, when their business closed. And the answer is nowhere, unfortunately, not usually. Okay, so what else can we learn about your home? Well, another tool that I have at the Local History Collection of the Shaker Heights Public Library is a set of plat map books. And in these books are recorded the property transfers. That would be all the purchasers of your property over the years. The photograph here is from the first set, the earlier set of books. That is from about the 19-teens to the 1940s. And as you can see, on each of the lots, they actually wrote the name of the owner, the purchaser, and the date on the actual land, the actual block of where your lot is represented. And then in the later set of books, which is here in the next slide, in those circles, I've given you some photographs that show how the later books were, the information was recorded, not on the block of the lot itself, but in lines and lines of printed text, of written text. But you can see it's the same information: the owner, the purchaser, the date, and sometimes even a purchase price. Now, the second set of books starts around the 1940s and goes up into the 1990s, when the city of Shaker Heights began to collect this information on computers. However, I recommend that you rely on this information, because there's no other source for it, until about 1975, because in 1975, the Cuyahoga County has a database that we can rely on from 1975 to the present. That's at myplace.cuyahogacounty.us. I've given you that URL at the bottom. And you go there, you look up your address, and then this is where you can learn about your property tax. But also there's a link to the tab for transfers. If you click that, you'll see everybody from 1975 all the way up to you or to whoever owns your house. So we've looked at the building card, which gives us all kinds of great information about the construction of the house, the architect, the original owner. We've looked at whether or not there are blueprints for the house. And we've looked at ways to learn the complete purchase history of your home, all the people that owned the house. So what else can we learn? Well, with those names of the purchasers, we can look at the deeds, and those can be really interesting. They can really, this is a rabbit hole you can fall right down into, but it's a lot of fun. The Cuyahoga County maintains a different database of deeds that they've digitized. I suggest, and again, this link is on my webpage, Researcher Shaker Home. I would suggest you go to the general deed search, because the parcel numbers were not in use all the way back to the beginning. So if you do a general deed search, that opens up the search query, which I've shown you is here on the right side. And in this case, you're not looking by address. You can't search by address. You have to look by owner. So that's why all this name searching comes in handy, especially to be able to learn complete names, not just a last name plus an initial. So on that card that I used as my example way back, the home built in 1926, the original owner's name was Minnie Lippert, and the home was built in 1926. So I've entered a recording date range from about 1920 to 1930. So I'm going to see what Minnie Lippert was up to when she purchased the land for this house. And as you can see, Minnie was pretty busy. She not only purchased this lot, she was involved in buying and selling other lots during that same time period, during that same decade. So the search results, which is sort of at the top of the screen, comes up like this. And let me just explain a few things here. The column that's called name, that's the seller. And the column that's called associated name, that's the buyer. And then you've got the recorded date. And then legal description, that's the column in which if it's very clear what the street name is, they will put the street name. And in this case, we have street names all along there. There will often be blanks left there for the street name. So you may find that you see a name that you recognize and it's about the right date, but you don't know what the street name is. And so you'll just need to go and look at a bunch of deeds until you maybe have identified the one that is yours or relative to your lot. So in order to look at the actual deed, you have to click on the hyperlinked numbers over on the left, and that will, you'll be required to click a couple of times through to a link that will actually download to your computer. It's a photograph that you're downloading, and then you can open that photograph, digital image, and that'll be the deed. So in this case, this is Minnie Lippard's purchase of the lot for that home in 1926, prior to the house being built, from a person named Nettie Thomas. And you can see a little more detail there. And then the description of the lot is listed on the deed as well. And that description generally doesn't even change going forward all the way. You probably have the same description on your deed when you purchased your home that goes all the way back. And I want to say that, like I said, this is a rabbit hole, because then you could, I could take Nettie Thomas's name and I could find out, well, who did she buy the lot from and when? And you plug her name in, you give it an appropriate date range, maybe back it up a little bit. And generally, more times than not, we can trace ownership back to the Van Swearingen Company. Now, not all of the land that is now Shaker Heights was even ever owned by the Van Swearingen Company. There were lots and parcels and pockets that were not ever owned by that company. But for the most part, many roads lead back to the Van Swearingen Company. So that's always pretty fun to do. So that will keep you very busy, happily busy, learning about not only the tracing your own homes and lots ownership, but as you can see in the early years in particular, people were buying and selling lots of lots. So you can it gives you a better picture of what was going on in the early years of the village. So again, we've gone over lots of really wonderful tools at our fingertips. Some of them are online, and some of them are in my local history collection at Shaker Heights Public Library. And so what else is out there? Well, there are historic photographs in my collection, as well as at the Shaker Historical Society. So I always recommend you get in touch with both institutions, with both of us, to see what we might have about your home. And there's another set of information of materials that is usually very interesting. That lives at the Cuyahoga County Archives downtown. That is the historic building survey cards. I've pictured one on the left up at the top there. And these were created in 1964 when the county surveyed the entire county, every property in the county, for tax purposes. So they took some measurements and they took a photograph in each case. Now, some of the photographs have since separated from the cards because the glue failed, which is too bad. But in many cases, the photograph is still there, and the archivist is extremely helpful and happy to scan. She or her staff will scan the card for your home and send it along. So that is always provides some interesting detail and a 1964 photograph, hopefully. So that's really a survey of the major tools that I use every time. I do this research for people all the time, and I love it. It's really a lot of fun. And of course, every home tells a unique story. So even though there are some tools in common, we always see some interesting details that make a house tell its own story. So please get in touch. You can email me at localhistory@shakerlibrary.org. you can give me a call, 216-367-3016. And I am very happy to get you started in this research, to answer some questions, to provide you with the information that I have at the local history collection, such as the property transfers and whether or not we have blueprints, and to provide you access to those blueprints. And just to enjoy the project of learning more about Shaker Heights homes. This is one of our treasures. One of the things that Shaker Heights is really known for is our architecture. And it's great that we have so many wonderful tools at our disposal to learn more about the home's history. So thank you very much for joining me, and I look forward to hearing from you.